Hello everyone and welcome back to Kayla's Kitchen. Today is day 1 of Tea Together Tuesday. So Tea Together Tuesday was made by Jann from Tea with Jann and Kimberly from Tea as a Wish blog, and they got together to make a collaboration where all the tea people could come together and just talk about tea on every Tuesday of the month. And so they have little prompts that you can post about on whatever platform you prefer, and use the hashtag Tea Together Tuesday and just learn about what your tea friends like, learn about what other people like. So today's today is singular. Today is one prompt. The prompt is, if you could drink one tea for the rest of your life, what would it be and how would you use it? So here is some footage of me trying to think of what tea I would drink for the rest of my life. Yeah, so this took a lot of thought. Essentially, there are 3 trains of thought, at least in my mind, of how you could come to this singular one tea that you drink for the rest of your life. You could think of your absolute favorite tea that is just your all-time favorite. You love it to death. It's so good. You love it all the time. You could think of something that's been a long time love of yours, because with that longevity there, you know you're gonna keep enjoying it throughout the rest of your life because you've already enjoyed it for a long period of time. And then lastly is something that is versatile, something you can do a lot with. Now, in my mind, the tea that I came up with is all 3 of those. So this is a tea that is it's at least in my top 5. I'm not sure if it's necessarily my top 1 favorite, but it is in my top 5. I've enjoyed this tea for a long time, and in my mind, it's pretty versatile. You can do a lot of things with it. And that is Nepali Breakfast by Nepal Tea. So I love this tea. It is so good. This is black tea. It has CTCT, black tea, black pepper, cloves, green cardamom, and cinnamon in it. So it's a spiced black tea breakfast blend, and it is so good. Let's take a look at her. Yeah, she's beautiful. I actually have a review of this tea on my channel. I'll link to it. You should watch it. Yeah, self-plug. Anyway, this is a delicious tea. It has a very aromatic sense about it. The black pepper is nice and strong, but it's not overpowering. You get all those warming, delicious spices in there, and they pair with the black tea so well. I love it. Okay, so what can you do with this tea? Obviously, there's the normal, you can brew it and drink it normally. You can have it hot, you can have it with cream and sugar, you can have it iced, you can have it as an iced latte, you can have it as a hot latte. That's what I have right here. I took a huge sip, I'm sorry. I made this with oat milk. This is the first time making an oat milk latte. It's pretty good. Actually, it's really good. It's like something I could drink for the rest of my life. I love it. So you can drink this tea in a variety of different ways. You can add extra spices to it to make it more chai-like. You can, like I said, you can make it as a latte. You can add lots of flavorings to it. The flavor can be super strong or super light. So you can actually, depending on how you brew it, the black tea I found doesn't get bitter super quickly, and so you can brew it for a longer amount of time if you want more flavor, like for a latte. That's what I tend to do. That also works great if you're having it iced or as an iced latte. And it's also, the flavor can be strong enough that if you add something to it, like say you wanted to add a caramel syrup or just any other kind of flavored syrup into it, it works, and it's not gonna, that added element isn't going to overpower the tea itself, and it is delicious. It's so good. I have some sugar-free Tirani salted caramel syrup, and I added just 1 pump into this, and it's tops. It's so good. Absolutely delicious. But aside from different ways that you can brew this tea, spiced black teas are some of the best teas for baking with. And y'all know I love baking, so yes, baking. We are going to actually, we're gonna bake something today. But you can put this in a variety of different things. You can put this in cupcakes, shortbread, so many different things. I have on my YouTube channel, I have a recipe for caramel chai cupcakes. I think I used Trader Joe's spiced chai, which I think is actually just like Celestial Seasonings repackaged, but anyway, you could use this instead of those tea bags. You could use this to make those caramel chai cupcakes. It would be so good. You can do so many different things in it, but today we are going to make Nepal breakfast spiced donuts. Yes, donuts. They're cake donuts, but we're gonna call them donuts even though it's basically just cake. Anyway, and they're gonna be vegan. So, you guys will find out about this on Thursday probably. I've been doing a 7-day vegan challenge. So I started this last Thursday, and so Wednesday is the last day of it, and so Thursday the video about it will go up. But anyway, I've been vegan for the past, I don't even know how many of days, I've lost count of time. Anyway, so this is gonna be a vegan recipe. I hope it works and it tastes delicious. It should. I'm excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun, so let's get started. Awesome, so we're here. This is my kitchen. Let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is infuse our milk with our tea. So because I'm doing a vegan recipe, I'm going to use oat milk, and then we're going to put this on the stove. So let's go do that. Alrighty, so we are over here and we're going to add in our 1/2 cup of oat milk. And then into that, we're going to add 2 David's Tea perfect spoons of our tea. Alright, so now we're going to turn the stove on. This is going to be sort of at like a medium-low, and then just with a little rubber spatula, I'm just going to give this a little bit of a stir. So we want the tea to infuse into the milk. That's part of the reason that we're doing this first, because we want to give it time. But this also will need to cool down completely. So right now is the perfect time to get out your vegan butter so that your vegan butter can come to room temperature. Your butter has to be soft. It can't be straight from the fridge and cold. And because vegan butter is made from oil, it'll just turn back to oil if you microwave it, so it has to come to room temperature naturally. Alright, so we're just gonna let this sit at sort of a medium-low, lower temperature. We don't really want this to boil, but we do want it to get hot so that the flavor comes out of the tea and into the milk. So essentially, we are just going to let this steep for a little bit. So anytime you see that you start to get some bubbles around the side of the pan, just give it a little bit of a stir. And you can already see just in that little amount of time, the milk is starting to get darker, so that's how we know that the tea is starting to infuse. So as you can see here, this is starting to boil and bubble up a lot, so we're going to give this one last little stir. It's been only about 2 or 3 minutes, and we're going to turn the heat off and cover this with the lid and let that steep for another 5 minutes. Alright, so now that our milk has been steeping, we are going to put a strainer over our measuring cup and then grab our milk, and then we are going to pour this over the strainer. So as you can see, this is the 1/2 cup line, and this is where the milk actually goes up to. So we want a 1/2 cup of milk, so we are just going to take our oat milk and then just pour this until it reaches to that 1/2 cup line. So now that we have our 1/2 cup of oat milk, we are going to put this in the fridge to cool down. While your milk is cooling, you can take your softened vegan butter and you're going to add in your sugar. And then you're going to want to get an electric mixer and beat this up. Okay, so your mixture is going to look something like this. And now you're going to add in your apple cider vinegar and beat that up once again. Alright, so your mixture is going to look something like this. It should be pretty light and airy. You can add in your cooled down milk mixture. And you guessed it, we're going to beat this once again. So now your mixture should look something like this. And I know it looks kind of gross, but just trust me. All right. So now we're going to add in our flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. And then we're going to gently fold that into the mixture. Right, and this is what you should get at the end, a light, fluffy batter right here. That's delicious. All right, so I have transferred my batter into a piping bag. Now this bag is fitted with a nozzle that is good for distributing batter. As you can see, oh, you can't, okay, there you go. As you can see, it's got these like silicone things in it so that when you hold it upside down, the batter doesn't just fall out, but it will come out when you squeeze it. And this is my mini donut pan, well greased. So now these are going to go into a 350-degree oven to bake. All right, so now for the glaze, I have about a half a cup of powdered sugar and a half a teaspoon of cinnamon in here. We're just gonna whisk that up. And now I'm going to add about a tablespoon at a time, some water into this mixture until it gets to the consistency that I want. So when you're making a glaze for donuts, if you want to dip them, you're gonna want something that's fairly runny, but if you want to pipe on top of them, you want something that's thicker. All right, everybody, so our donuts have cooled down. They are now completely cool to the touch, and I have our little glaze right here, and I'm just gonna pipe some on top of each donut. And there you have it, some delicious Nepali breakfast tea donuts. So that is my entry for day 1 of Tea Together Tuesday, which was created by Tea with Jann and Tea is a Wish blog. Once again, a huge shout out to these two lovely ladies for creating this. This is just such a great way to bring the tea community together in these kind of stressful and uncertain times. So this is really great, and I encourage you, if you are a tea person, you should either post on Instagram, you can post on whatever platform you want, and say what your answer to today's prompt is. They'll be releasing one of these prompts every Tuesday in the month of May, and probably continuing forward into June, and so on and so forth. If you want to see the full recipe for these absolutely little delicious Nepali breakfast tea donuts, just go over to my blog. The link is in the description box below, and you can find the recipe for these mini Nepali breakfast tea donuts. They're super good. They have a great spice to them. They're vaguely peppery, but they're sweet, and they go perfect with a cup of tea. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe down below. And that's all for now, so thanks for watching.